Greetings, Cadre 26, and welcome to this presentation on brain rules. Today, we will be discussing sleep and stress. So what happens to the brain at night? The brain is still very active while we're trying to sleep. Neurons are firing, and they issue commands to other parts of our body, so we can continue to function. If the brain stopped working, there would be nothing to telling us to continue breathing, or telling other parts of our body to continue functioning. During the night, only about 20% of the sleep cycle is non-REM, which is considered true rest for the brain. REM stands for rapid eye movement. So how does this handle our sleep and awake cycles? To handle our sleep cycles, we have two opposite sides of the brain that are constantly battling. And this battle goes on during the day and the night. This is a cyclical pattern where one side wins, and then the other side will eventually win and take over. It's described as one side winning, and eventually it tires itself out from doing victory laps, which eventually paves the road for the other side to come in and take over. This cycle is what prompts us to wake up, and likewise starts to put us to sleep in the evening. The side fighting for us to stay awake consists of neurons, hormones, and other chemicals. In turn, these chemicals keep us awake and alert during the day. But on the opposite side, the second army is fighting for sleep, and it's using its own set of neurons, hormones, and chemicals. These tools operate for its goals. What ends up happening on this end is trying to flow and slow down our system and put us to sleep. This process has its own name called the homeostatic sleep drive. So why do our bodies need sleep? Sleep provides us with a number of benefits, which include, but are not limited to, stronger processing for learning and increasing our ability to grasp and learn more readily. We also need to give our brain some time to shut down to the external world. On the other side of the fence, sleep deficits can have a negative impact on us. Throughout the week, losing a little bit of sleep will eventually pick up a deficit. And we can make up this deficit on the weekend where we tend to get a little extra sleep. But if this deficit begins to increase, eventually we begin to suffer in the ways of loss of cognitive skill. And the body can also become less proficient at utilizing food. So what is stress? Stress is a measured physiological response that affects us in different ways. Remember, not all stress is equal, and actually stress can benefit and hinder our mental faculties. Stress originates from a desire to avoid situations or from the loss of control over an existing situation. Stress hits the body, and there are a number of responses that can result. Stress in small doses proves to be beneficial, but if it builds up, can quickly become detrimental. Let's look at the cardiovascular and immune systems. The cardiovascular system and immune system are bolstered when there is a little bit of stress. Our heart becomes more proficient, and our immune system is more ready to fight off diseases and other infections that we may come across. But if the stress becomes too much, we can lead to heart problems, such as heart attacks, and the immune system will eventually open the door for infections to come in. To know the positives and negatives of stress, we have to understand the heroes and the villains of stress. Cortisol is the villain of stress, and that is what latches onto our hippocampus, creating more stress. Too much stress, and you prevent the creation of additional neurons, and this can lead to even greater problems, such as depression. To combat stress, the brain-derived neurotrophic factor, also known as BDNF, battles cortisol. It keeps everything in check. But the protection is not indefinite. Eventually, too much stress and the great fortress that BDNF creates will eventually be overrun. And this is why it's important for us to be conscious of the amount of stress in our lives and to take action by taking activities maybe that control stress and relieve stress. Thank you, Cadre 26, for joining me today in this presentation. Remember, get plenty of sleep and monitor your stress.